Finally, we have an image generator that can actually generate accurate hands and fingers. Plus, it can also generate text accurately. Not only that, but it can follow tricky prompts really well. Plus, it can even generate these mediocre, low-quality selfie images that normal people take. So, with this new image generator, it would be almost impossible to tell AI photos apart from real photos. Let's do a quick test here. I'm using the same prompt, but with this new image generator called Flux, and also two other state-of-the-art image generators, Stable Diffusion 3 and SDXL. So these three images are based on the same prompt. Now between left, right, and center, I'm not going to tell you which model is which. You let me know which one looks the best to you. So here's the first prompt. This image shows 3 young African children, 2 boys and a girl, standing on a dirt ground. They are all smiling and making a peace sign with their fingers. The girl is wearing a green and yellow patterned dress, and the boys are wearing casual clothes. The boy on the left is holding the girl on top of her, while the boy in the middle is holding her up in the air with both hands. Alright, so let me know which image you think is best, left, right, and center. By the way, for each model, I'm keeping their positions, left, right, and center, the same. I'm not shuffling any of their positions. So here's the next one. The image shows 3 children sitting in the trunk of a red car. The car is parked on a dirt road with trees and bushes. They are sitting on a blanket and are eating slices of watermelon in their hands. The boy on the left is wearing a blue striped shirt and shorts. The girl in the middle is wearing blue shorts and a white t-shirt. The girl on the right is wearing an orange shirt. So really tricky prompt. There's a lot of details here. Let me know which one looks best to you. All right, next one. The prompt is a photo of a blonde-haired woman with a pistol in each hand and an open mouth facing the camera. So let me know which one looks best to you. And then next we have the famous prompt of a woman lying on grass. So it's pretty obvious here which one looks the best. All right, here's another comparison. Let me know which one do you think looks the best. So the prompt here is a young woman playing a bass guitar on a stage. She is wearing a black dress and black boots. She has long blonde hair styled in loose waves. And pay attention to her fingers and the bass, right? A bass should have 4 strings only. So which image do you think looks best in this case? All right, here's another comparison. So here the prompt is a young woman standing on a street with her back to the camera. She's wearing a white t-shirt, black skirt, knee-high socks, brown shoes. She has a large blue backpack on her back with a brown strap and a small teddy bear on it. So let me know which one looks best to you. And finally, here we have a young woman standing on a sidewalk with her arms raised in the air. She's wearing a gray t-shirt with a graphic of a dog on it, a white skirt, and white sneakers. She has a yellow backpack on her back and is smiling at the camera. Next to her, there is a small white dog, possibly a Pomeranian, sitting on the sidewalk. So let me know which one looks best to you. All right, next the prompt is a photograph of a black-haired woman in a white dress with bloodstains sitting on a red couch to the right of a chiming clock, holding a rose in her left hand with 3 skulls at her feet. A very tricky prompt. Let me know which one looks best to you. All right, next we have anime. So here's a anime girl with massive fluffy fennec ears and a fluffy tail, blonde messy long hair, blue eyes, wearing a maid outfit, long black dress, etc., etc., eating a slice of apple pie in the kitchen of an old dark Victorian mansion. Let me know which one looks the best, and not only the quality, but which one actually follows the prompt the most. Alright, next one. This is a young woman with long blonde hair and bunny ears on her head, kneeling in front of an open refrigerator. She is wearing a white tank top and black shorts, and is holding a black phone in her hand. The fridge is filled with various fruits and vegetables. There's a potted plant on the right side of the image. The woman appears to be taking a selfie. Alright, so let's reveal the answer. So the left side is the new image generation model called Flux. And then the middle one is Stable Diffusion 3. This is the latest version of Stable Diffusion, and in theory, it should be the best one. And then on the right, we have Stable Diffusion XL. Now, I think we can objectively say that the left one, Flux, looks the best in most cases. So let's go over the prompts really quickly. The first one, the prompt is 3 African children. So you can see Flux is the only one with 3 kids. And then making a peace sign, Flux is the only one with decent hands and fingers actually making a peace sign. The one in the middle, SD3, they're kind of making a peace sign, but the fingers are still messed up. So in terms of hands and fingers, Flux is the clear winner here. And then the girl is wearing a green and yellow patterned dress, which is what we're seeing. Anyways, next one. So both Flux and SD3 are pretty good. Both of them show that there are 3 children sitting in the trunk of a red car. However, in terms of quality, you can see again, Flux just crushed it. This photo looks really good. The faces are very detailed. They're each holding a slice of watermelon. The toes actually look real. Whereas for Stable Diffusion 3, the faces are kind of blurry. The toes are not really accurate. And the girl in the middle is missing a watermelon. So again, for this one, I would give the point to Flux. All right, and then here, I mean, both Flux and SD3 got the prompt correct, but again, it seems like Flux is just better quality, especially if you're going for this cinematic, realistic style. Flux is really good. And then this one, woman lying on the grass, SD3 is infamous for not getting this correct and generating quite grotesque images. And even SDXL, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like you can see here, this woman has an extra hand, so it's just not great. But as you can see, Flux nailed this. Plus, her hands and fingers are actually accurate. All right, so here I would say again, Flux is the clear winner here. In terms of hands and fingers and the bass guitar, Flux is the only one that was able to generate a bass guitar with 4 strings. And the strings are actually straight. And the frets look very realistic as well. Even the drums in the background look more realistic than the other 2 examples. And then here, I would say Stable Diffusion 3 followed the prompt a bit better. So we did mention that she's wearing brown shoes. We're not seeing that for Flux, but again, for Flux, the image quality is just way better than the other 2. I mean, it's not even close. And then here, again, I would say Flux is the clear winner here. It followed the prompt really well. It was even able to generate a graphic of a dog on her shirt. Plus, it's the only one who could generate a white Pomeranian. But yeah, you can see that Flux not only followed the prompt really well, but in terms of image quality, it's also a lot better than Stable Diffusion. And then here, again, if you just compare the quality, then the Flux image looks the best. None of them got 3 skulls at her feet, so the Flux one had 4 skulls, SD3 had 2 skulls, but they both generated the woman correctly. All right, now in terms of anime, in terms of image quality, I would give it to SDXL. There are just so many good anime models built for SDXL. It's been around for a while, so you can expect that some SDXL models do a lot better than the newest Flux or Stable Diffusion 3. However, in terms of following the prompt, I would have to give it to, again, Flux. It's the only one who was able to actually generate the girl eating a slice of apple pie. The other 2 generators did not generate a slice of apple pie. All right, next one. Again, I think the clear winner here in terms of quality and following the prompt is Flux. So this woman is kneeling down. She does have bunny ears and she is holding a black phone. She does have a white tank top and black shorts. SD3 looks pretty good, but you can see her left hand is missing and her right foot looks really weird. So again, I think the point goes to Flux. It can also generate low quality cell phone photos like this, or this, or this. So you can see it generates the iPhone pretty accurately. Plus, it nails the hands and the fingers. Plus, this looks like a legit low quality selfie shot from an actual human. You might be used to AI photos being really polished and everything just looks so perfect, so they were quite easy to tell apart. But right now, Flux can generate such average looking photos. I mean, it's insanely hard to tell this apart from real photos. It's also great at generating text. So here's one example. Here's another example of text. And here's another example. And note that she has 5 fingers. Her hands are perfect. Speaking of fingers, finally, we have an AI image generator that actually gets hands and fingers correct. So here are some examples. It doesn't matter the position of the hand. It could be like pouring tea. It could be playing a guitar, but the fingers do look correct to some extent. Plus, note that the strings on this guitar and the frets on this guitar are actually straight. None of the other image generators could get this consistently. Here's another example of hands tying a shoe, and you can see it nailed this one as well. Here's another example, and another example. So, I mean, this is the only AI image generator that can actually get hands and fingers correct, at least most of the time. And even Midjourney, which was the leading closed source image generator, it still could not generate hands and fingers really well. So, I mean, now with Flux, you can forget about Midjourney, forget about Stable Diffusion. Flux is by far the best image generator out there right now. So in this video, we're going to go over how you can use it, including online methods, as well as how to install and run it locally if you have a good enough GPU. Plus, I'll go over the architecture and details about the model. So really quickly, Flux is a new image generator that was announced recently, and they were developed by Black Forest Labs. Now, this is quite a new startup, and it seems like a lot of the team members were actually from Stability AI. In fact, they claim that they were the original creators of Stable Diffusion XL and Stable Video Diffusion, plus many other well-known tools. Now, for Flux, they've actually released 3 models, so I'll go over each of them. The first one is called Schnell, and this is the fastest model. So think of it as like a turbo version for a Stable Diffusion model. This is completely free and open source. However, this is the worst quality out of the 3 models. This is the smallest one, it's the fastest, but it's the worst quality. So it's kind of a watered down version. I'll show you a comparison in a second. And then next we have the dev model. This is slower, but it's much better quality. This is also free and open source, so you can download it and run it locally. However, this is only for non-commercial use. And if you do want to use it commercially, well, you need to get in touch with them to discuss further. And then finally, they have their Pro version, and this is slightly better than the Dev version, and this is the best quality out of the 3 models. However, this is paid and closed source. You cannot download the weights and run this locally, but this is the best quality out there. Now, I'll go over the architecture and benchmarks and more technical details about Flux, but that's kind of boring, so I'll leave that till the end of the video. For now, let's dive in and actually try this out. Thanks to TubeMagic for sponsoring this video. Are you looking to kickstart your YouTube channel or take your existing channel to the next level? Look no further than TubeMagic, an AI-powered tool that helps you succeed on YouTube. Their built-in keyword research function lets you sort keywords by search volume, competition, and an exclusive magic score, which automatically finds the best keywords for your videos. Imagine never running out of content ideas again. With the Video Ideas tool, you can simply drop in any channel link, and TubeMagic will generate video ideas related to that channel. Plus, it even writes scripts and outlines for you, so you're already 80% of the way there instead of starting from scratch. You can also upload an unlisted video link, and it will generate the best title, description, and tags for you. By the way, this is created by YouTuber Matt Parr, who runs the popular Make Money Matt channel and over 12 other channels, so TubeMagic is backed by years of experience and success. Many big YouTubers are already using it to streamline their content, so if you want to grow fast, try out TubeMagic for free via the link in the description below. So there are a few places online where you can use it for free. One option is this space on Replicate, which I'll link to in the description below. So you can see it's pretty simple to use. You just enter in a prompt. Flux doesn't even have negative prompts, so it's just one positive prompt. And then you can change the aspect ratio to whatever you want. And then guidance, this is how well it follows your prompt. So if you drag this all the way to 0, it doesn't follow your prompt as well, and it would spit out some random image. If you drag this all the way to the right, it might follow your prompt too literally and give you some unwanted result. So it's best to keep this at 3.5, which seems to be their default. And then seed is just the starting point of your image. So usually you would leave this to blank, which sets it to a random value. But if you do set the seed to the same number and you keep all the settings the same, then in theory, it should generate the same image that you got before. And then output format is just, well, what file type do you want, WebP, JPEG, or PNG? And then output quality is just, well, how much compression do you want on your image? So let's just leave everything at the default. All right, let's test this out. For the prompt, I'm going to put a man wearing glasses writing in his diary, and then click run. So note that Flux is quite bulky and it takes a much longer time to run compared to Stable Diffusion. However, in most cases, you're going to get a higher quality result compared to Stable Diffusion. So here indeed we have a man, he's wearing glasses, he's writing in his diary, and the pen actually looks straight and his fingers and his hands actually look real. So this is really impressive. Let me test out an even trickier prompt. So here we have a zebra with rainbow stripes playing a grand piano on a mountaintop. The piano is made of ice and in the background, the northern lights illuminate the sky. So let's click run and see if it can generate that. Oh my God, this is just so incredible. There's just one minor flaw, which is it has 3 arms here, but this is the only image generator so far that can actually get a zebra with rainbow stripes to actually play a piano made of ice with northern lights in the background. Previously, I did a review on another new image generator called Auraflow and compared that with Stable Diffusion, and it's not as good as this. I mean, this looks amazing. Let's try another example. So here the prompt is a girl in a Victorian era dress holding a sign that says Flux is king. She stands in a garden filled with flowers and butterflies. Let's see what that gives us. All right, well, it kind of gave us this image in a Disney Pixar style, but I did not specify for this to be a realistic photo, so whatever. And you can see she does have accurate fingers and hands, and she is in a Victorian era dress. She is holding a sign that says Flux is king. The letters are very accurate, plus there are flowers and butterflies. Again, just nailed the prompt. Everything is correct, plus the image quality is actually really good. Super impressive. Now, if you run out of daily credits on this replicate space, you can also use the Huggingface space by Black Forest Labs themselves. So there's actually 2 spaces. One is for Schnell. This is the faster but lower quality model. Or you could use another space which uses Flux Dev, which is the slower but better quality model. I'll link to both of these in the description as well. Now, since we have both of them open, this is actually a good time to show you the difference between Schnell and Dev. So as I mentioned, Schnell is kind of a watered down version, so the only reason to use it is if your GPU isn't good enough, so you could only run this faster but smaller model. But in most cases, Dev is the way to go. The quality is a lot better than Schnell. Anyways, let's paste both prompts in here. So we have a beautiful woman with long brown hair doing yoga at home. So I'm going to paste this in the Dev space, plus I'm going to paste the same thing in the Schnell space. And then let's click run. I'm going to set these side by side and you can see Schnell is already done. So here we have a woman doing yoga at home. And her hands and fingers are perfect. She is indeed doing yoga. Previously, I did a comparison with another new tool called Auraflow plus Stable Diffusion 3 plus Stable Diffusion XL. And here are the generations. So you can see they are awful compared to what Flux is able to generate. All right, so now our Flux Dev image is also done. And you can see just the colors and the details of the image. It's a lot better than Schnell. I find that Schnell is kind of oversaturated and the contrast is too much at times, whereas this gives you a more cinematic feel. All right, let's try a different prompt. So here the prompt is a ballerina girl with butterfly wings dancing on a lily pad in a serene pond, anime style. So I'm going to click run for both and note how quickly Schnell runs compared to Dev. It runs way faster. Wow, and we are already done. So here we have a ballerina girl with butterfly wings dancing on a lily pad. Again, it just follows the prompt really well. There are some flaws, so her face isn't really detailed. I'm sure if you bump up the resolution, it would be a lot better. Plus, we have some flower floating in midair, so that's not really accurate. And then here's the same prompt, but with Dev. So you can see that, again, in terms of image quality, Dev is just better looking than Schnell. Schnell seems to be oversaturated, plus the contrast is too high. Alright, so those are some ways you can use it for free online. Now, if you do want to install this and run it locally, I'm going to show you that right now. Note that there are a lot of steps and a lot of things to download. Plus, you do need at least 12 gigabytes of VRAM on your GPU to run this well as 32 gigabytes of RAM on your computer. Also, this is using Comfy UI, so you do need to have this installed. If you're new to Comfy UI, I'm going to post a beginner-friendly tutorial on how to install and use it, probably by next week, so stay tuned for that. So let's go over how you can install this locally. I'm going to link to this guide by Comfy Anonymous in the description below. So the first thing to do is to download these safe tensors files. So let's click on this link. And first we need to download this clipl.safetensors. So let me download that. And in our Comfy UI folder, we need to download this in models/clip. So let's save this in here. And then now, depending on how much VRAM you have on your graphics card, you can download this larger version or the smaller version. I'm going to go with this one so it doesn't kill my GPU. By the way, I have a Dell Precision 5690 laptop, which has an NVIDIA RTX 5000 Ada with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Shout out to Dell and NVIDIA for sponsoring this. But so with 16 gigabytes, I would still prefer to use this smaller version so it doesn't kill my GPU. If you have like a 4090 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, then this FP16 would be a better option. But anyways, I'm gonna download this and also put it in my models/clip folder. Alright, next step is we need to download this VAE, and it should go in your models/VAE folder. So if you click on this link, it's actually broken. So instead, you should go to the Black Forest Labs Huggingface page, which I'll link to in the description below. And then when you scroll down, you should see these two models, the Schnell, which is the faster but lower quality model, or the Dev model. Now again, just so I don't kill my GPU, I'm just going to use the Schnell version. But if you have a good enough GPU, you can go with this Dev version. So I'm going to click on this. And then in this Files and Versions tab, you should see this ae.safetensors. So this is your VAE file. So let's go ahead and download this. And this goes in models/VAE. So let's save this in here. And then finally, we need to download the Flux Schnell.safetensors file or the dev safetensors file if you're using that model. And we would download that in our models/unet folder. So let me click save. Alright, so I'm going to open up my Comfy UI folder and make sure all the files are there. So in this models folder, in this clip folder, you should have this clipl.safetensors file as well as this T5XXL FP8 or FP16 safetensors file. And then let me go back to the models folder. And then in unet, you should have Flux Schnell or dev.sft or .safetensors. And then going back to models, in this VAE folder, you should also have this AE file here. All right, and then afterwards, we are good to go. So let's run Comfy UI. All right, now the first thing to do is actually go in Manager and then click Update Comfy UI. Otherwise, your current version of Comfy might not have support for Flux. So let's click on this. All right, so our Comfy UI has been successfully updated. So let's click Close and then Close. Now, going back to this page, which is by Comfy Anonymous, again, I'll link that in the description below, there are two images that you can save. This first one is using Flux Dev, so if you've downloaded Flux Dev, save this image. Because I'm using Schnell, I'm going to right-click and save this image, and you can save it wherever you want. And you might be wondering, well, why are we downloading this image? And that's because the awesome thing about Comfy UI is if you drag and drop an image that was created in Comfy UI, and given that they haven't deleted any metadata, then it would actually pull the workflow that they used to create the image. So I'm going to drag and drop the downloaded image onto Comfy UI, and you can see, voila, we have this workflow that is already made for us. it automatically gives us this pre-existing workflow. We don't have to make this from scratch. So just a few things we need to change here, which is this one, because I did not download this FP16 one, I downloaded this FP8 one, so I'm going to select this, and then everything else is the same. And then if you're familiar with Comfy UI, everything should be quite self-explanatory. So here we have the latent image, you specify the width and height here. This is basically the seed. Here is the K sampler and the scheduler. And we plug all of this in to this sampler custom advanced. So previously in Comfy UI for Stable Diffusion, you would have these three, right? The seed, the K sampler, and the scheduler all in one node, which is called K sampler. But here they've kind of broken it up into 3 different nodes, and then now they're using this sampler custom advanced node. It's a bit messier, but it is what it is. All right, so let's enter in a prompt and test this out. I'm going to write a woman holding a sign that says RIP Stable Diffusion, and then click Q prompt. So you can see it's taking a while to load the diffusion model. All right, so right now it's going through the sampler. All right, and here we go. Here we have a woman holding a sign that says RIP Stable Diffusion. So that's how you would install and run Flux locally on your computer. All right, finally, I want to talk about how this actually works and the technical details behind Flux, because it's actually quite interesting. So first of all, here they compared some benchmark metrics between the 3 Flux models and other image generators such as Stable Diffusion 3 and Midjourney version 6. And also DALL-E 3. So interestingly, first of all, Stable Diffusion 3 Ultra is actually ahead of Midjourney version 6. But anyways, they found that the lowest quality model, Schnell, is already slightly better than Midjourney 6, at least according to this benchmark metric. And then both Flux Pro and Flux Dev just beat all these other models. They are currently the best quality image generators out there. And you can see for this Pro model, again, this is the paid and closed source version, it's actually better than the dev model by quite a large margin. And this chart sums up, well, the creative abilities of these 3 models compared to the cost. So Flux Schnell is less creative, and again, this is the lowest quality, but it's also a lot cheaper and a lot less resource intensive to run. And then Flux Dev, the cost will be higher. You're going to need more VRAM for this, but it's more creative. And then Flux Pro is even more creative, but it requires the most resources to run. Now, here's how the architecture works. So it's actually based on a hybrid architecture of multimodal parallel diffusion transformer blocks. So this is key here. So the diffusion model is like the traditional Stable Diffusion model, and then the transformer model is good at understanding natural language. So a diffusion transformer model is kind of like a hybrid model. It's kind of like if ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion had a baby. So they've improved over previous state-of-the-art diffusion models by building on flow matching, which is a method for training these generative models. Plus, they've incorporated rotary positional embeddings. And this helps Flux understand your prompt better, especially if it has a lot of complex elements. And they've also incorporated parallel attention layers. And all of these extra features just give it a much better understanding of composition and prompt following and how to create a coherent, good quality image. And so you can see here the Pro and the Dev models just destroy other image generators like Midjourney, which is closed source and paid, by the way, and also Stable Diffusion 3 Ultra, which is the best version of Stable Diffusion so far. And Flux surpasses them in visual quality, prompt following, size and aspect variability, typography, and output diversity. So there you go. That sums it up for the technical specs of Flux. So if you've gotten a chance to play around with Flux, let me know what you think of it so far. What were you impressed by? What did you like and not like? And for those of you who are using Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, would you consider actually switching to Flux now that you've seen the results? Do you think that Flux is indeed the best image generator out there so far? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you, so if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel, so to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.